Welcome guys to another episode of Nerds for Life SuperCoach. I'm your host Peter and I am back after a couple of weeks away. I was in Malaysia and I had a great time. I picked up this little Malaysian cup here and I'm going to be drinking my coffee out of it. It's a pretty cool cup actually. It took me forever to find it. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, I guess you can check this out on YouTube if you really want to know what my cup looks like. I really like it. Yeah, anyway, that's that. That's what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. But I am back. Big episode coming up. We've got group winners for 3 weeks because I was away. We've got trade-in targets. There's some juicy picks below 500k or even just slightly above 500k as well. We have questions. We have the moves I'm making. But before we begin, I just want to say, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a comment as well. You can give us a like on Facebook at Nerds for Life SC or TikTok, Instagram, Twitter or X, as well as Spotify, of course. Make sure to follow us because I do post regular news and updates, including captain choices. I was actually making captain choices and move and trade choices while I was away. So as you can see, my trip did not stop me from doing that, but I didn't do the big full-length episodes, of course. Also, Inside F Sports on Patreon. I will have a link in the bio below. Anyone that signs up using the code NERDS, N-E-R-D-S, gets to support this page, so it supports us, as well as supporting them, of course, and they post a lot of exclusive content, articles, videos, things that are not free to the public that, I'm going to be honest, is really good, and it does help you in your ranks. It certainly helps me. I check them out as well, and I also contribute there too, so you can find more of my content there as well. I'll be recording with them tomorrow night, actually. Now, the formalities are done. We've had a big week. Last week was absolute dog shit, but the week before was amazing. Scored a 2615, 2,615. It was fucking amazing. The last 2 weeks of Captain Max gone, and he has saved my week last week because I just had this really weird week where I had these really good scores by about 5 or 6 players, and then everyone else just decided to do absolutely nothing, and it meant that I think I just got, it was 2,394, so I didn't even hit 2,400 with a guy that has scored 198 as captain. That's insane. Insane. Absolutely insane to me. But it is what it is. There are a lot of good VC and C options, which we'll get to later on in the episode. But I really want to get to the guys that performed over the last 3 weeks. So let's take a look at the group winner over the last 3 weeks. So round 6, who was our group winner in round 6? Let's take a look. All right, so it was Zesh Frenzy was the team name by Lincoln. He scored a whopping, wait, round 6. No. So it was Bex FC by Jax, scored 2,405. Great work. That was in round 6. Round 7, only because I've missed the last 3 announcements, and I did promise that I would do this weekly, so I'm going to keep this up, was Young Gens. I came 5th that week. I was so close. And the annoying thing was, I actually left, I left 50 points on the bench, because I put Peyton on field, and I had Cleary on my bench, and Peyton was subbed out at 32, I think it was, at halftime because of the calf injury, and Cleary went on to score like an 89, so I left 50 points on my bench, which means I would have been my own group winner had I have not made that little fuck up, but it is what it is. Matt, congratulations. Young Gens, 2,652 is insane in round 7. And in round 8, let's see who was the group winner in round 8. We have Mid-Price Madness by another James, 2,701. That is nuts. That is nuts. I'm just taking a look at his team. Sheasel, Martin and Zorko and Bowie, Bice as well. He had a really bad defensive scores there. He's gone early on Philippou and kept him in. That's strange on the bench. That's interesting. But kept him in. Interesting. He's got McCluggage. Dacos was a poor performance. Neil, Callahan, Ashcroft. Ashcroft loves the Brisbane boys, obviously. Might be a Brisbane fan. He's got 5 Brisbane players. When Brisbane have their bye, you're going to be in a bit of trouble. But pretty good ruck combo in Cherry and Gawn. He didn't... Mate, you have some balls. You did not take Cherry's VC and you went with Gawn. That takes balls that you did not take the 146. Wow. Forward line's amazing at the moment. You could probably fit Jason Horne-Francis in, but I reckon you probably traded him out like a few others did. But I would say you could probably bring him back in. You've got some pretty good cash generation on your bench as well. Better than mine. This is a really good team. Actually, he went early on Hustwaite as well. This is a really, really good team. I do like it. Anyway, going back to my team. I had some really shitty performances through Connor Rosie, Jordan Clark, Riley Bice. Adam Cherry was pretty average. Lindsay hasn't been the same for a while. I brought in LDU. I was exhausted when I got the Clayton Oliver news. No sleep, at an airport, in a transit. Only had a couple of hours to make a decision. Minimal research because I was away for a couple of weeks overseas. And went, you know what? LDU looks interesting. He's got a good record against Essendon. He's also got a really good run home. I thought, yep, this is perfect. Hasn't really set the world on fire. Has just been scraping hundreds most of the year. Let's see what he can do. Look, a 101, not terrible. He's got a 74 break even. He's probably going to have a tough opponent against Brisbane this week. But then he's got Richmond and Collingwood, who don't tag, or Richmond attempts to anyway, and Collingwood do not. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see just a couple of really good scores against Richmond and Collingwood, and from there it really gets better because he plays West Coast. The Dockers don't tag. Carlton, he should do okay against. Hawthorn could be a tag, but the Dogs don't bother. Melbourne should be a good score. He's probably going to get a tag with Sydney, but look at that final series, Richmond and Adelaide, who, again, I just see a pretty good run home for him, and if he's going to be my M8, I'm kind of happy with that. But he is not a trade-in target this week. Some of the best trade-in targets this week go to some guys who I'm going to mention. Now, the first one is... Now, rookies are tough. Rookies are tough this week. Henry Hustwaite, if you don't have this guy, he's got a negative 83 break even. He's projected to go 45. He's not going to go 45. If he goes 60, he's going to make about 70k. Okay, this week alone. Now, Connor Nash is out of the team. I think Connor McDonald... Was it McDonald that was laid out? Someone was laid out. Will Day's a little bit away still, so he should get at least another game or two, or at least 2 games, you would hope. He's just gone 72 and 82 against the 2 easiest midfield matchups in the competition, so he's probably going to go a little bit below that, but in saying that, Melbourne have not been far off Richmond and West Coast when it comes to midfield matchups. Therefore, I can see another 70 to 80 score again. That would be ideal. If he does that, he probably makes about 70k this week, which means he's projected to make 100k over the next couple of weeks. I think that he's an absolute must-have. If you have not gone early on Hustwaite like I have, and he's the only player I've gone early on this year so far because I was just so confident in his role. And against the Tigers, I thought, why not? He performed with an 82. So I think that he is a genuine option. The other guys that that are on the bubble, Buzzlinger. Now, he's got a break even of 9, which is not great. It is not great. He did really well in his first game of 57, but then the 4 in round 8 really kills his cash gen because he was sub. He's probably going to be in the team for the next, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks still, as Liam Jones is out. So maybe 2 to 3 weeks, actually, because he was a 4-week injury last week. So it's the next 2 to 3 weeks. You could still go Buzzlinger, especially if you're trading down someone like a Bice, but I wouldn't have him on field. If you don't like going early on players and you've already got a Hustwaite, he's your only real option. The other one is kind of a speculation. Erasmus is someone that I would love to get in. He's got a negative 51 break even. He plays Collingwood this week. Hayden Young is out for the next 10 to 11 weeks. Okay? But Nathan O'Driscoll is only a couple of weeks away, and Jaeger O'Meara is TBC. So we don't even know he could be back next week. He could be back in a month. We don't know. So you've got 3 players out at the moment that are midfielders. Most likely, you would think Neil Erasmus gets a game. Did score an 80 against West Coast, a 41 the week before against Sydney. You would think that he would get at least a week or 2. I would prefer Neil Erasmus over a Buzz Linger, especially if he gets a game. But the one that everyone's real keen on is Hugh Boxall. Negative 29 break even is not on his bubble. So you could wait a week for him. But take a look at this. He's got Carlton and West Coast in his next games. He scored a 75 against Fremantle, and they were disgusting on the weekend. The only thing is Philippou is most likely back this week. So what does that mean for Boxall? I don't know. Does he get dropped for Philippou? Is he the sub for Philippou? Because remember, Travalia was an unused sub. You know, they had a 60-point win on the weekend against Fremantle, and Travalia was an unused sub. It's very strange. And because he was an unused sub, it means that he's probably going to be the first one to leave for Philippou, and therefore someone else needs to be sub. And I don't think it's going to be Philippou. So it's probably going to be someone like Boxall. I am considering him still. I would prefer Erasmus if he's named. If Erasmus is not named, I'm probably going Boxall early regardless, but he will be on my bench anyway. So it's not really a big deal. They're the only guys that I'm really considering this week as trading options. I think Finnerini? What's his name? Fint. What's his name? That defender. Fioni. No, that's not him at all. Anyway, there's a GWS defender as well. He's a rookie. I forgot his name for the life of me. I wouldn't be going early on him. He's 160k at the moment. So if you go to players, I'll find him. Don't worry, I'll find him. I forgot his name. It's just for the life of me. If I go to 160k, that's how I'll find him, because I know his price. He's around. I know his price. Around 8 points. Sort by price, lowest to highest price. Don't you love just? Fonte, Joe Fonte scored a 77, and already people are trading him in. That is really good. He's probably going to have, like, a 77 is probably the higher end of his scoring potential, honestly. He's probably going to score closer to the 50 to 60 range. I don't mind him as an option, but I wouldn't be going early on someone like that. Myself, I think that he's a kind of a wait and see kind of player. Definitely an option next week, but I wouldn't be going early on someone like Fonte. There are a couple of players, though, to look out for as well. Clay Hall had an absolutely brilliant game on the weekend in their reserves. I don't think that West Coast are going to leave him out of the side this week, and he plays Richmond. He had, as I said, he had a really good game. The Eagles weren't amazing last week. They need to make some changes. I can see Clay Hall coming back. He's definitely a watch. The other one to keep an eye out on is Keaton Coleman. He's 269k defender. He had 28 disposals, 24 kicks, 5 tackles, 10 intercepts for 138 SuperCoach points. Definitely one to watch. I am considering going early on him because, honestly, Zorko's form has really dipped, and maybe Brisbane can use some fresh legs in defence. If he's named this week, I would strongly consider him, because if he's named this week, I could get Tristan Cherry and Coleman in my team. Okay? I could do that and still have 100 and something K in the bank. I could do that. Okay? So I'm very tempted to do that because I can do it. Otherwise, I'm probably going to go a couple of different options as well instead. I'm really interested to see if he's named. The other one is Braden Finneroni, 393k mid. He had 47 disposals and 3 goals and 8 clearances. He's been killing that. He's got a 38 disposal average in the VFL this year. He's probably not breaking into Gold Coast's midfield, but if he does, my God, that is a massive, massive average. He's the kind of guy that I think will probably leave Gold Coast at the end of the season, go to another club, and you're probably going to get him at about 350, 340k next year. And if he's at another club next year playing midfield, he's probably going to be in my team because I can see him exploding. Similar to how Sam Flanders exploded last year, I could see Finneroni exploding next year in a similar fashion. So definitely one to keep an eye out on. Clay Hall, there it is. 32 disposals, 9 tackles, 4 marks, and 4 inside 50s. That was fantastic. So, my moves. I'm considering now, as I said, I'm considering Kitty Coleman and Tristan Cherry. But I'm also considering these. Now, Riley Bice, Flynn, and Lindsay for Dawson, Marshall, and Boxall. There's a reason for me wanting to go Dawson. Now, Dawson has a pretty good run home, and as does Marshall. So Marshall's the kind of guy that, look, at essentially my third ruckman at flex, he's the kind of guy that can really dominate. Now, we know the kind of player that he is. The last couple of years, he's been the number 2 and 3 ruckman. He's got a 31 break even, okay, and he's 471k, but I just want to show you, he's got Carlton, West Coast, and Gold Coast in his next 2 opponents, okay? He started the season well enough. Okay, ignore the 82 against Adelaide because Adelaide are actually the hardest team to score against for ruckman this season. So ignore that. He did well in his next two opponents. He did well against. Then he had an injury which caused him to suffer those 3 games. 133 against Brisbane's actually quite good, and then Fremantle double teamed him as well for a 112. So he's looking good again. He's finished to the year. He's got a couple of really easy matchups against Richmond and Essendon, and that's your SuperCoach final series right there. So I'm strongly considering Rowan Marshall just because of the kind of player that he is. He should be a 600k player. He was a 600k player. He's lost $132,000 off his thing. He's got the best buy as well, so he's going to cover you in the buys when players like Gorn and Cherry miss out, and DeConning as well. I'm strongly considering him. I really am strongly considering him, and we'll see how we go when it comes to him. The other one is Dawson. Now, Dawson is the kind of guy, we know what he can do at his best. He's 521k. He's got a 74 break even. He's projected to go 106 and go up about 14k. Now, he might go up more because if you look at his last game against Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval, it was 143. He's also got Collingwood, who do not tag, and then West Coast in his next 3. Okay, Sydney's a tough one. Brisbane don't tag. Hawthorn tag, and then Richmond and Melbourne. So for the next few games, and he doesn't play in round 12, which is the worst buy. He plays round 12, which is the worst buy for most teams. So his end of the year is also strong with West Coast, Collingwood, and North Melbourne. And again, that is your SuperCoach final series right there for you. So I kind of like it. And Matt Crouch is out for the next 4 to 6 weeks still. So he plays really well when Matt Crouch does not. And his worst game is a 60, yes, which is disgusting, I know. But the 96 and the 76 is bad. But the 96 wasn't terrible either. Outside of that, he's gone like 103, 124, 124, 113, 156. The ceiling's there. And especially while Matt Crouch is out of the side, I can see his next month being really good. And I kind of want to be on top of that. I really kind of want to be on top of that. In saying that, I think this week is the week to get him if you are shopping around for a midfielder. The other one, and I know this is a popular one, is Chad Warner. Now, he did go up 27k over the weekend, but his break-even's 26. It's projected to go up 32k. It's probably going to be more than that because his projections are 98. He's 488k, and he's got midfield forward status. So that DPP is actually quite handy. especially as we start to milk through our trades at the end of the year and we need to start rotating players. His last 2 games since he's returned to a primary midfield role is 121 and 140. He's got Essendon, Carlton, Melbourne, Adelaide, Richmond in his next 5 games, which is really good. He doesn't have the round 12 bye, which is solid as well. And his end of season, which is your SuperCoach Grand Final, is against West Coast. So if you make your SuperCoach Grand Final for your leagues, and you've got Chad Warner, he's playing West Coast, which is amazing, right? It's fantastic. Yes, I'm thinking about that when it comes to my trade-in targets. Of course, I don't want a player playing against James Jordan in my SuperCoach Grand Final, do I? I want a player playing against West Coast who, by round 24, have probably given up for the season. So, if not already. And I just think that he is a really good trade-in option. I can see the next month being really big for him too. I would love to get in both, and I can afford to get in both, I'm going to be honest. I could get Jordan Dawson and Chad Warner this week, which would really complement my midfield. It actually will get... I've actually finished my forward line already. Cleary, I'm just waiting for him to just make his cash, and then I'm just going to move Petrarca into my forward line. But Chad Warner has the ceiling of someone that can really pump out some big scores, and having that flexibility between mid and forward, which you most likely will lose as the season progresses, is at a premium level anyway, is actually kind of good. It's kind of useful to have. So I don't mind taking a punt on someone that's 488k, because he should make me money regardless. Like, I could see him making 70k off his current price easily, like genuinely easily. And if he continues this form, it could be much higher than that. He went 172 against Carlton last year. He's about to play Carlton again next week. So that's just like exciting. If you look at his 54, I think his 54 was that sub-affected game, I believe, or that illness-affected game. There was something lingering in round 4. So if we take away that round 4 score, his other scores haven't been disgusting. And Sydney haven't been amazing. And I think the next month is probably when Sydney start to like perform as well. And he's going to play a big part of that. Just be aware that Callum Mills is still... We don't know when he's coming back because he's a TBC. And Goulden is back probably in the next month as well. So do keep an eye out on that. But Goulden does play a little bit more outside. Mills could come and play inside more. But then... I don't know. Honestly, Chad Warner is such a good forward. He provides something up there, so I'm not 100% sold on him. I don't hate it, though. I really don't hate it. I won't have Bison Cleary in the side anymore, so come his bye, it's not going to be a major impact. I think that those 3 are really good trade-in targets, and if you've already got them, the last one is Lachie Neale, right before he plays North Melbourne, okay? 583k. He's got a... what's his break-even? His break-even is... Why isn't it showing me what his break-even is? It's a 79, okay? He's projected to go 130, all right? He's probably... He could go actually 130, which means he'll be a 600k player next week, okay? And then he's got Melbourne as well. His last... Like, ignore round 1. Just ignore round 1. Ignore round 1 and 3, okay? If you ignore round 1 and 3, he's gone 133, 130, 90, 113, 139, 124. He's back. He's back. His last 5 games have been elite. He's back. He's playing North Melbourne. Okay? He does have a tough opponent come SuperCoach Final Series, but that's fine. You need to make the finals. You need to have these kind of guys. And Lachie Neale, it should probably be in more teams than what he's in. In terms of priority, just because of his matchups, I don't love his matchups. I would actually rate Dawson and Warner ahead of Neale as a trade-in. First, because of price, he's actually 100 grand more expensive than Warner and doesn't have DPP. He's 60 grand more expensive than Dawson, and Dawson has a better matchup. I feel like future matchups coming up. I personally think that those two are better. Marshall is someone to really consider as well. I haven't decided what I'm doing just yet myself. The other options are Flynn, Kako, Bice to Marshall, Warner. Yeah, Buslinger. I don't really like that. It'll probably be someone else. It won't be Buslinger. It'd be like Erasmus if he gets named. I prefer Erasmus if he gets named. He's also got DPP as well. That's just my personal page. Where am I? Yeah, so there's a lot of potential moves that I can make. I'm actually really unsure of what I'm personally doing. I want Cherry. I know that I want Cherry, and if I go Marshall, I'm most likely going to be fading Cherry for the year, and I don't recommend that. I faded Gorn last year, and it was horrible. Cherry's got a break even at 65, and he's 629k. He's about to be 650k. He's got Richmond next week. Brisbane are a tougher matchup. They're kind of a negating ruck, but he's gone 144, 158, 146. I just want to point out that TDK does bleed points to other ruckmen. Zuko, stop that, please. Please stop that. Don't do that. I like my carpet, and I don't want you to tear it up. Hey! No, bad. Don't do that. Good boy. Sorry, I'm just telling off my dog who's trying to dig a hole in my living room. Port Adelaide, Jordan Sweet, that's not a matchup. And Essendon had a dinosaur basically playing in the ruck. So, not the best matchups, and he did go to town on them, but then he's got Richmond, Collingwood, and West Coast coming up. Oh my god, he's gonna score so well. So not owning him for those four is going to be upsetting. I really want Cherry. I think I might be forced to just bite the bullet and go Cherry, which will be frustrating because it means that I can't get 2 Premos in. So I'm most likely going to be doing either a double discounted Premo this week, 2 midfielders, probably go the Warner and Dawson, and then hope to get Cherry soon at some point magically somehow, or I don't really know what I'm going to do with that. It's either going to be Cherry this week, and then maybe a Kitty Coleman, or it could be just another 2 midfielders and maybe just really complete that midfield for now. So that's what I'm considering, but let's see how we go. I'll make a final trade video by the end of the round, before the end of the rounds or start of the round, so you will get a reel of that on all my socials as well once I have eventually made a decision. We should probably get to our questions now on X. How many questions did we have? Let's take a look. Got 2 questions. All right. Squidlips. Okay. Should we be prioritising dead rookies over upgrades? Just picked up Husway and Boxall, but stuck with 6 non-combatants: Hall, Gross, Moraes, Brock, Travalia, and Sid Draper. Okay. Interesting. I think Hall comes back. Travalia and Draper. Travalia is probably going to be that annoying player that doesn't score well. And Draper, I think, will come back into the side at some point too. I think you do... Depends on your team. If you're doing really well, I think cash gen is important, especially for the second half of the year. I wouldn't be boosting for cash gen. I think the boosts at this point should be... Any boosts you have should be for those upgrades. And I'm hoping to have at least a couple come the buys myself. It really depends on how well your team is going, honestly. That's the answer that I have. If you're trying to make up ground, Premos are an option. But if you can't get to the Premos you want, don't force it. If you don't like Warner, don't just get Warner because he's the only player you can afford. Don't force a trade, is what I'm saying. I would prefer you go for cash generation and get the players that you want in a couple of weeks than forcing Warner now just because fuck it, AFL Guru 145, Flynn and Davidson to Marshall and Hustway. Love it. By the way, just pointing it out there, Flynn is most likely going to have a good game against Nank this week. Opposition ruckmen tend to do well against Nank, despite him being a good ruckman. But, actually love that move. Just go for it. I really like that. Now, moving to Facebook. Okay, we've got 8 comments on Facebook. Let's take a look. All comments. Let's take a look. All right, Shane, Christopher. Top 3 mid-term trade targets. Who do I need in my team to beat the top people in my league? I'm laughing because I am the top person in your league, Shane. And I would prefer if you do not beat me. I think that, honestly, you can go to hell. No, I think that the top players that you should really be going for are PODs. And I think you know that. But unfortunately, your trade-in targets are literally my trade-in targets because we've had this discussion. So that's frustrating for you. You need to be going, let's be honest, and I've said this every week on this channel, you need to be going for the fallen Premos that you can see recovering. Guys like Jordan Dawson, guys like Chad Warner, Marshall. I can see all those guys having really good end of seasons, and they're really at a discount. So I'd be prioritizing those kind of guys. That Warner's going to be in a lot of teams at the moment, but yeah, someone like a Dawson who is not highly owned. Also, Zachy Merritt is someone to keep an eye out. He plays Richmond in a couple of weeks and is the 6th highest scoring midfielder right now and he's under 600k. So that's definitely someone to keep an eye out on. He's got a James Jordan tag this week. Can still see him turning up, scoring between 90 and 100 anyway, because the tag hasn't been as effective as what it was at the start of the year. Grant William Fulks. Should I go the value pick in Josh Dacos or pay up for a super primo defender like Whitfield? Whitfield over Dacos any day of the week. I love Dacos as like a D6. He's that guy that, you pick up at the last guy that you pick up the last line. But in saying that, Dacos is getting more expensive. I believe he just had a really good game actually on the weekend. But his scoring has been pretty up and down. Yeah, his break-even's at 68. Wow, he's actually scored. I didn't realise that he's actually done really well over his last 3 games. 119, 106, 113. Not a bad option. Whitfield's break-evens are 139. As much as an owner, I would love to see him score that. He probably scores just under that. So he probably he drips back into the maybe 590s. I would go Josh Dacos and then get Whitfield later. If that's what you're thinking. That's what I would do. Lulu, when to sell Flynn? Do we give him another week? Why no love for Josh Dacos? Okay, awesome. Alright, we've already discussed Josh Dacos. Josh Dacos is actually in my draft league. I do rate the pick. I don't mind it. I just don't think that he is he's not going to be that guy that scores 130s for you. He's probably going to be a flat 100 guy for you, 105 at best. As I said, I don't hate the pick. I'm just not shopping around for a defender myself right now. Especially with Kitty Coleman coming into the side. We've got Callum Mills coming back soon too. There are options. Jack Sinclair is really dropping in value. Next week, he's going to be a target. He's going to be about 520 to 530k next week. I think, selling Flynn, I'm personally most likely selling Flynn this week if I go the Marshall route. If I don't, then I'm probably going to keep Flynn. Or the Cherry route. I think I got to get rid of Flynn regardless. I'm most likely going to get rid of Flynn regardless. I can see Bailey Williams coming into the team with Archer Reed being out with an Achilles injury and Flynn getting absolutely destroyed. Flynn could be dropped this week. And if he's not, I can see Bailey Williams coming in and chopping him out, which means it's going to limit his scoring. He might do okay, but even if he scores 100, he's only making 15k this week. So, if you look at it, he's only projected 68 is his break even. He's projected to go 73. He's going to make 2k. So if he goes 100, he's most likely only making 10 to 15k maximum. He's already made us 123k anyway. He's actually got a decent, tough ruck matchups coming up too. Nah, just get rid of him. Just if it means getting a Premo in, get rid of him. However, if you're not bringing in a Premo and you're just trading him down to like a rookie like Boxall, don't do that. That's silly. Have 650k in the bank. Do I get a Premo like Merritt or a fallen Premo and have more money like Petrarca, Rankin, or Warner? And if so, who do I get out of the three of them? Okay, well, let's prioritize this. Let's take a look. If you don't have Petrarca, Rankin, or Warner, it means your forward line is not complete. I like Merritt, don't get me wrong. I think he's a great option. I think he's at a great price. However, so are the other three, and you want to finish your forward line as cheaply as possible. Rankin is definitely someone that I would be looking at. You wouldn't want to be paying more than 520k anyway. Negative. He's got a 48 break even. He plays West Coast in 2 weeks as well. I can see him having a really good game. He's got Richmond, West Coast. I'd be going Rankin out of the lot of them. I think Petrarca you should have picked up a fortnight ago, because he was about to play Richmond and West Coast, and they were the two games that he scored 129 in. That's why I targeted Petrarca at the time, because I knew those two games were coming up. So I think you kind of missed that, and maybe you can get Petrarca later after another... He's going to have a down game eventually. I hate to break it to you, but he's probably going to have another down game. He'll be 550k this week. Great. Awesome. But Hawthorn's a tough matchup, and then so Sydney. So he could be around the low 500k again. You could probably wait for someone like Christian Petrarca. Okay? Warner, I like, but I like Rankin more. So, which is why I have Rankin, and I don't have Warner. So, maybe Warner. That's Seth Fuller. And Keaton Marin. I have ended up with almost a full non-playing emergency list, so I'm thinking I need to do 2 rookies sideways this week. Do we know anything about possible JS of Lorenz, Fonte, Hustwaite, and Boxall? Hustwaite, good job security at the moment. They've got suspensions and injuries, the key midfielders, so Hustwaite should play for the next couple of weeks. Okay? Boxall, don't know, because they've got Philippou coming back. I could see Boxall being a sub-risk, so I wouldn't be bringing him in early unless you necessarily have to. I have to bring him in if I go the really expensive route of Premos that I'm trying to bring in. However, if I cheap out a little bit, I would prefer Erasmus. Lorenz and Fonte, look, Fonte wait a week, looked good on the weekend. Lorenz, they got thumped, and he could be the first one out of that team, unfortunately. So I don't like his job security at all. I wouldn't be going early on Lorenz or Fonte. Boxall is the only one I would consider going early. If you don't have Hustwaite, get Hustwaite in. Yes, you should be trying to fix your cash generation. I'm taking a look at your team now. You got a pretty good midfield. I think Tsatsas actually gets dropped this week. I hate to break it to you. I think Caldwell's available. A really good backline too. You could probably... I would keep Bice, by the way. I think I could see Bice playing really well this week, but like I'm trying to get Premos in, so I'm going to go early on trading him out. But again, maybe turn Tsatsas and Bice into someone. You could probably do that. I don't know. I would be... Or you could do Bice at Ashcroft, but then Ashcroft actually is pretty weird. Look, honestly, I would say Clay Hall probably plays this week. Yeah. It really depends on... It looks like you've got enough players playing, or just out of the side. I'm not really sure if Tsatsas plays or not. If he doesn't, then you're going to have to get rid of him anyway. If Hall plays, great. You can put Hall in. But, yeah, I like the rest of your team. Maybe go for cash generation. Hustwaite is essential, by the way. So I don't mind Tsatsas to Hustwaite. If Tsatsas is dropped, do that trade. Do we trade out Chera or hold and prioritise trading out Moraes and Lindsay types? I have considered trading out Chera. Okay. I have strongly... Because I've worked out, if I trade out Chera, Flynn and Roberts, I could... Like, if I do that, so if I trade out... I'll show you what I can do if I trade out Chera, Flynn and Roberts. Okay? If I trade out Chera, Flynn and Roberts, substitute Peyton into defense, okay? Substitute Kako into the forward line. I can do, this is so freaking tempting. I could do Cherry. Oh my god, why didn't I do this? I could do, what's his name? Cherry? Dawson? Oh my god. I could do Cherry, Dawson. I didn't even have to put Peyton there. I could do Cherry, Dawson, and Coleman. Oh, I really, really don't hate this. I'm actually going to snip this. I actually really like this. I'm going to take a little snip of this because this is, and it leaves me 61k. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is, Zuko, please stop trying to dig a hole in my room. Please. And he's told me to go fuck myself, and he is continuing to do so anyway. So let's just save that. I really like that. Defensive capabilities, star midfielder, Cherry as well. Chera was always there for cash generation with the potential of being not Robert. Oh, am I trading out Roberts? Oh, I'm an idiot. I clicked on the wrong one. Can't do that. Ah, no, it's not gonna work. I could probably get in I see. No, I fucked up. What have I done? Cancelled. Did this again. This is embarrassing. Bice. Chera. Flynn. Cherry. Yeah, okay, yeah, I can still do it. Dawson. Yeah, I'd have to put Peyton in my defense. Yeah, okay. And then, like, Erasmus. I like it. I hate it and I like it all at the same time. Why do I like this? I hate that I like this. I really, I really like my team. Holy shit. I mean, obviously Peyton's not going to be on the field. It'll be Carroll, which I know it sounds disgusting, but at least he's playing. And he'll probably be, like, he'll be out. His score will be out with the flex anyway, so it's not really a big deal. But holy shit, I like that. Holy shit. This is the one I'm snipping. Because this is tempting. Going back to your question about Chera, I don't think he's a keeper anymore. I started Chera because I thought that he had the potential to be a keeper. He's averaging 100. He's got a break even of 131. So if you are going to get rid of Chera, this is the week to do it. He's made 52k, which I know is not much, but he scored well. But his start to the year, so we actually got him for his first 8 games, okay? Because he had really good matchups. He's now got St Kilda, who are a tougher midfield matchup, okay? And we just saw what they did to Freo. Sydney's a tough matchup, but he won't get a tag because, let's be honest, Cripps or Walsh should get a tag ahead of him. The Giants are a tough midfield matchup. Essendon, not so much, but they have been a little bit restrictive when it comes to midfielders. Then he's got 2 good games against West Coast or North Melbourne, but he's probably dropped. Like, he'll be close to his starting price again by the time you get to that point, okay? And then, by that point in time, you might not be able to trade him out because you'll be running out of trades. So this is the week to trade Chera. If you're going to trade Chera, I was hoping he'd be a 105 guy. He's still averaging 100, and I know it sounds ridiculous thinking I'm going to trade out a guy that's averaging 100, but the reality is his scoring hasn't been amazing. Like, his time on ground has been low, and it's remained low. Like, the 3 easy opponents, his best score is 117. He's the 4th, because Hewitt, Walsh, and Cripps are ahead of him in that midfield rotation. They just are. As Walsh has picked up in form, his CBAs have actually reduced, if you go take a look. So the role isn't there. He is their 4th best midfielder. Good player, but do you really want to finish your season with a team's 4th best midfielder? I probably don't. And I'm strongly if I get rid of Chera, it's a gateway to Cherry, who is like a number 2 ruckman. And then that's an upgrade. So going Chera to Cherry is an upgrade, for example, right? And then going, Bice and Flynn, to essentially a player like, what's his name? To essentially a player like Dawson is also an upgrade. So Chera was there for cash generation and early scoring and was at a discounted price. I've had that early scoring, and I guarantee he was going to go nuts now that I trade him out. Okay, I just want to point out that he actually, the last time he played St Kilda, he scored a 144 in 2023. But his form in 23 was very different. Like, if you go to his form, like his season in 23, he averaged 108 for the year. And that was his best. This is the form that I was hoping he'd get back into, but he hasn't looked like that. A couple of quiet games against them as well. But then he went in he hasn't shown that ceiling this year at all. At all. And I don't know if he's got it in him. I think that was, from memory, I think Walsh had a poor 23. I just want to take a look at Walsh. Was it Walsh that had that poor 23? Oh, no, he did play. Oh, no. Yeah, he had a poor 23. So that's the thing. So as Chera was doing well, Walsh kind of... Yeah, so these are the games that Chera went nuts in and Walsh was not. So Chera was having a really good season and Walsh just wasn't. He had that back injury. So now that Walsh... If you go look at his last few games, now that Walsh is kind of back into his best, which, like, apart from this game, just ignore Adelaide, but look at that. That's been Chera's downfall. So maybe... And with Cripps being back into some form as well, Hewitt dominating, I don't think Chera's that guy anymore. And as long as Cherry scores better than Chera, I kind of win in that regard. Because Dawson should score more than the Robertson Flynn cash, right? So maybe that's the way to go. I hate sideways trading. I really wanted to avoid sideways trading this year. But I think I'm going to have to. I actually am strongly considering getting rid of Chera and trying to bring in a guy like that. Lindsay, by the way, I don't think going early on Lindsay's got a 14 break even. He's going to make at least another 15k, maybe 20, because his projection's 49. He bumps that up to maybe a 60 or even a 70 something, which he could do. He'll make 20k. So you can hold Lindsay. He's not a trade out just yet, personally. Hasn't set the world on fire, but I wouldn't be just trading him out just yet for no reason. Kako's break even's at 28, so here's another one that could make 10k if he hits his break even at 53, which is possible. I'm probably trading them both out next week. Look, I'll see what it is. I wouldn't be forcing a trade if you don't need to. That's a very, very, very long way to talk about, to discuss Aaron Fellows, to answer your question. Michael Narum, bus or box? And is Cherry now or never? Well, yeah, I think Cherry's a now or never, and I do want him, and I'm probably going to get him this week. I'm kind of liking the trade that I just made, but I could get Cherry in 2 trades. by the way. I don't actually need, I don't need to do the stupid boost that I did before. I can do Cherry and Robertson. Watch this. I could do Cherry like that. And get Kitty Goldman. Kitty Coleman. Or I can not get Kitty Coleman. Like, get rid of Kitty Coleman, move Peyton to defense, and get, Erasmus if I want. And that leaves me with, 231k in the bank for next week, and then I can get rid of Lindsay and Kako, save my boosts. I actually like this. Probably going to do this. It's much better. I get a top ruckman, I get cash generation. Fuck, why is it always... Do I always click Roberts? I don't know, my computer doesn't understand. I'll have 106k after this. I'll have 106k after this to do what I want to do next week. So I'm probably going to do something like this, personally. So Flynn and Bice for Erasmus and Cherry is probably what I'm doing next week. Reserving my boosts for the buys. That'll give me literally 26 trades left and 3 boosts and 100k in the bank for next week. So that's probably what I'm doing. So I'll show you again. This is boring to me. I don't know why this is so boring. I hate it. It's just... Yeah, this is what I'm doing. Most likely. I'm hoping Erasmus plays. If Erasmus plays, he's in my team. And then you got 106. There you go. Because I can see Kako and Lindsay making just that little bit more money. You can just hold them for a little bit. And then that 106k plus whatever they score. What do they score? So he'll be 244k. He'll be 270k, let's say. So 244 plus 270 was that 500k on the dot, basically. So he'll be 500k on the dot plus 106. I have 600k to play with next week. I could still get Dawson next week, actually, without burning a boost. If I really wanted to, I could just get Dawson next week without burning boosts, and then get Boxall. And I think I've just thought of my next 2 weeks of trades. I don't have to use a boost and keep my boosts for my buys. It's boring. That's boring. I'll probably keep Bias and Chera. Anyway, I'm doing something this week. I don't know what I'm doing. I've just confused myself. I hope I answered your questions. Now, captaincy choices. Now, captaincy choices will be... I'll make a proper video of who I'm going for as I do my shorts. But let's take a look. Captaincy picks. Fremantle versus Collingwood. I really like Brayshaw. I can see Fremantle bouncing back. I also like Dacos. St Kilda, Carlton. Don't really like anyone from this game. Melbourne, Hawthorn. Max Gawn has his career best average against the Hawks. So I really like Max Gawn in this game. He's probably going to be my VC, Max Gawn. He's in amazing form, so I'm most likely going to VC Gawn. The only issue with that is I might not have a loop if I VC Gawn, so we'll see how we go. Essendon, Sydney, don't really like anyone. Gold Coast Dogs, Bont. Port Adelaide. I like Dawson in this game a lot, and I like Butters. Sunday, Richmond West Coast. Don't really like anyone from that game. It's annoying is that we always target Richmond and West Coast to play their captains against, and we can't do that this week. Then we got the Cats and the Giants, who I don't like anyone from this game. Love Lachie Neale against North Melbourne if your VC does not deliver. So they're my captain picks. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Watch, give us a like on all our socials. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you same time, same place next week.